everyone. We are actually starting now. Welcome. I am so happy to see so many of you here at the Chateau. My name is Nora Anderson. I own Threshold Arts, and I, along with my small but very hardworking team, have been managing the operations of this building since the summer of 2022. When I started Threshold Arts in 2018, I had the goal of connecting our community through art and events and activating community spaces. And what this organization has evolved into in the past 7 years is far more than I could have ever dreamed of. A lot of people ask, what is Threshold Arts? What do you do? It's my favorite question at a party. What's your job? We do a lot of different things. I have been working in the Rochester arts community for the past 20 years. A lot of that in events and community activities. But Threshold now operates a retail storefront on South Broadway. If you haven't been there, please come check it out. We've got over 60 local artists with incredible work. And I think everyone should own a little piece of local art in their home. We curate gallery exhibitions. I've had the privilege of working with dozens of local artists in that. We work on a lot of different public art initiatives with partners here in the community. And I also get to work with the Rochester Downtown Alliance as their public space manager. So I manage the Peace Plaza and a handful of other public spaces here downtown. It all kind of ties together and it makes sense to me, but it is a lot to follow. Since we moved into the Chateau in 2022, we came into a building that we were still, the city, DMC, all of our partners, still trying to figure out what to do with. Since then, we've put in new restrooms, an entire new HVAC system. We've designed and mostly installed state-of-the-art lights and sound and video system. Still in progress, but everything is. And updated a bunch of lighting and electrical and things like that that you don't necessarily see or notice, but they make a huge difference in this space. We have also welcomed more than 98,000 people through our doors since June of 2022, and we're on track to hit 100,000 people by the end of the month, but honestly, by this weekend. We've got a huge event on Saturday, and that will happen this weekend, which is really very exciting. But you can see numbers behind me, but I think it's impressive that over half of the events that we've done have been free and open to the public. One of the big goals is community access in this space, and so working with partners in a variety of different ways to make these events and activities free is very important. And then a number of ticketed events, which we all have a lot of fun at, private events as well as over 6,000 just daily visitors, people who are out and about passing through, open the doors and say, what's going on in here? I remember it when it was a bookstore. I remember it when it was a movie theater. So it's wonderful to have those conversations, and we want to keep that coming. The success that we've seen has come from a lot of different things. Learning and figuring out as we go. We're creatives. We work really hard. We have to be flexible and very adaptable. We work with a number of artists and community members. I'm not going to be able to name all of them or list all of them, but a few of the key community partners that we work with: Rochester Public Library and Public Music, University of Minnesota of Rochester has been a tremendous partner. ACLA, who's putting on Latino Fest this weekend, ICAM, the Sudanese community, Southeast Minnesota poets, including Rochester's poet laureate, Jean Procott. She's brilliant and so much fun to work with. We work with the Symphony, Choral Arts Ensemble, the Hometown Opera Company, Pops Art Theater and Tree Dome, and My Town, My Music, and many more. But kind of our largest partners, who we're so grateful for, DMC is at the top of that list, along with the City of Rochester and the Rochester Downtown Alliance. We could not do what we're doing on the scale that we are without the support there. So in October, we celebrate 98 years here in the Chateau, which is a pretty big milestone, or it's our 98th birthday. So look for some announcements about celebrations to come at the end of October that we hope you can join us for. But this fall, we're really ramping up with more music, performing arts. We will have festivals, community gatherings. I'm excited to announce that we're bringing movies back. So we've got a large movie screen, and the Chateau will once again not not every day, but on occasion, open its doors for movies. So we invite you to join us for that, and also share your feedback on what you want to see in those programming opportunities. The holidays get crazy. We host a big winter market that supports over 40 local vendors, which is just a fun day for everybody. So I invite you to join us for that and more. Really look forward to seeing you back here. And with that, I'd like to welcome Patrick Sieb to the stage. Patrick, along with the DMC team, has been in our corner since day one, since we started dreaming up what we could do with this space. All of the things that I mentioned are not possible without the support that we've received from DMC, both financial and just as a team working together to think about what this place can be. I know we're still trying to figure that out, and I'm really honored to be a part of making that happen. So thank you, Patrick. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Nora. I really do want to acknowledge Nora and her team, and that's an exaggeration. I mean, it's a very small group of people that support her and her work. When the city said, we are looking for somebody to help operate this, she raised her hand and said, I want to give it a try, and I have a vision for what I can do and what we can do. And seeing the story of all of the things that have happened, the learning along the way, and did you hear her say, there's going to be movies back at Chateau? So thank you, Nora. You know, this is a community of people who do raise their hands and say, I want to participate, I want to contribute, I want to make a difference. And I do want to acknowledge in this room there are many elected officials, and I got a chance to say hello to some, but not all of them, and perhaps you did or didn't, and I would like to ask all elected officials to take a moment to stand up. Nick, knowing that, please, all elected officials stand up. And please remain standing, Patrick. Remain standing. What I really want to say is, it is extraordinary in this environment that we are in, that you are willing to be the front of this work that we're doing together. And it's not lost on me, the personal toll that it might take on you. And I think the rest of us acknowledge that. And I think that we all have a role in dialing down the rhetoric and dialing up the collaboration and the compassion. And I just want to say thank you. And I do want to welcome all of you in this room. This is a room full of people contributing, shaping, participating, making a difference in Rochester. And it's a really big night for us at DMC. And it is because you can tell I'm wearing my green tie. I only break it out for really big nights. And this is a very big night for us. It's a night where our annual meeting is really all about looking at the past, celebrating the work that we've done, the accomplishments, the progress that we have made as a community, and to feel good about that. And it's not to pat ourselves on the back, but as a way of pushing ourselves forward, to talk about what the future can be and what the future ought to look like. And today, as we are in our midpoint of this 20-year journey of Destination Medical Center, it is a moment to look back over the 10-year time horizon. And many of you have seen the slides that were showing as you were walking in. You may have picked up one of these lenticulars, decidedly low-tech way of showing before and after images, and feeling how remarkable it is that over this 10-year time horizon, the kind of change that we've experienced. But more importantly, to think about what our future can be, what our collective vision for that future can be. And we have a conversation tonight where we share that work in progress. We will invite on stage some folks to help us humanize the concepts that we're talking about, make more accessible, and then an opportunity to be inspired by the mayor's vision for what she sees as our future, and then a collective conversation as we continue to shape our future work. So let's begin with the video.
DMC began with a bold vision for Rochester to become America's City for Health, the world's premier destination for health and wellness, attracting people, investment, and jobs. We launched with commitment, refined through collaboration and accountability, and the willingness to dream together. And now, 10 years in, we've reached the halfway point of a 20-year journey. This is an opportunity to assess progress, recognize new opportunities, and to envision an even bolder future. During the past decade, this community has come together to create a brighter future. Every voice bringing new energy has mattered, every step building momentum. The results are visible and transformative. 17,500 new jobs. $1.8 billion in private investment with $5 billion more to come. 400,000 square feet of new research and innovation space. 15 vacant or underutilized city blocks redeveloped. 100% increase in downtown housing. 3 extraordinary public spaces. 300% increase in the size of the University of Minnesota Rochester graduating class, and new models for community participation like Business Forward, Community Co-Design, and Bloomberg Mayor's Challenge. We now have a new vantage point to see the future, confidence built from experience, insights, momentum, and collaboration to realize that future. With 10 years behind us, we set our sights on what's next. America's City for Health, from tagline to unique competitive strategy. Only in Rochester, the #1 hospital in the world. Surrounded by a thriving ecosystem, 300 startup companies born from Mayo Clinic innovation, $1.1 billion in annual research funding, 3,500 patents, 8,000 physicians and residents who care for 1.3 million patients from 137 countries. Only in Rochester, the largest economic development initiative in Minnesota's history to ensure 21st century infrastructure. An education system dedicated to developing the next generation of health leaders. Infrastructure to support 3 million visitors annually with hotels, restaurants, conference facilities, and an international airport. And elected and civic leaders aligned around a vision to ensure Rochester can be the very best version of itself. With so much in place, the question isn't if Rochester can lead, it's how. Building on the foundation of America's City for Health, our future is defined by 3 core drivers, principles that have shaped us from the start and now serve as our competitive strategy guiding the decisions ahead. Health innovation as an economic engine. We will leverage our unique scale and Mayo Clinic adjacencies and lean in on health tech to drive innovation and economic growth, supporting new ideas, businesses, and careers that improve lives and strengthen our economy. Health excellence as an attractor. We will emphasize proximity to health excellence as a reason people choose to live in, work in, and visit Rochester by strengthening our reputation as America's City for health, wellness, community, and quality of life. Health in the built environment. We will invest in infrastructure projects that inventively center physical and mental well-being and create safe, healthy, and sustainable places for everyone. These drivers will shape choices, investment, and every step of the next 10 years. In our ongoing journey, we will lean into what makes Rochester special. None of us travels this path alone. We move forward just as we began, together, always reflecting who we are and who we are becoming. Our destination is more than a city. It's a community becoming what it was always meant to be. It is home, a place of wellness, a place of belonging, a beacon of opportunity for everyone. Only in Rochester, America's city for health.
I was saying earlier, I was thinking about this, that I've been accused of using a lot of jargon, sort of, academic approach to this kind of conversation and work in the community. And so, which is why I really asked for a college professor, a surgeon, and a neuroscientist to come and explain what we just talked about. Before we begin, I think it would be, while most people know you by name or reputation, could I ask you each to take a moment about how you landed in Rochester?
Well, how I landed in Rochester is a little bit like everybody comes to Rochester in that, or a lot of people do, is through a health problem. I lived in Honolulu for 13 years. I've been in Rochester about 12, and I had a very rare liver disease that nobody in Honolulu had seen before. So I looked all around the world and decided that I would go to wherever there's a place that people could be seen that had seen me. And Mayo sees a few thousand people that had the same disease. So we came for a number of years as visitors, and then I came for a transplant I had one a few years ago, but it came for a transplant. That's how I came.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it, and you've been very public about
Yes,
it. But I just think this notion of health excellence as a motivation to leave Honolulu to come to Rochester.
Absolutely.
We're going to come back to why you. We're going to come back to why did you stay?
Excellent.
In a minute, Dr. Otley.
Sure. I came because of my grandfather. So my grandfather grew up in Northeast Iowa, and I was finishing my medical training, and I needed one more final fellowship, and he said, you should go to Mayo Clinic. And I said, yeah, I'll give it a try, and I'll go back to Harvard and establish the practice for the rest of my career. And I came out that year, fell in love with Mayo Clinic and how we take care of patients, and fell in love with Rochester and the Midwest, and he was right.
So you came here for a year of medical training,
Yes.
and 30 years later.
Still, and I'm not going back to Harvard, that's for sure.
Lori.
Well, when the search firm came calling over in the green and gold state next door, I was drawn. There was a magnetic force that was drawing me when I heard there was a campus that was going to use research to inform practice. And I just saw all the possibilities of that. The only reason I was able to pursue this opportunity, though, was that just a month before they contacted me, my husband had a transplant that changed the quality of his life and mine, and ultimately let me be a chancellor instead of a caregiver. And when I knew that this campus that was going to be an educational innovator also was going to produce future health professionals, I couldn't think of any better way to live out my gratitude for science, for discovery, and for health professionals.
Great. I'm going to ask a few questions, but you guys are going to talk to each other.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask, I'll pick on you, Dr. Otley, the video that we saw talked about a lot of accomplishments. And if you were to pick one of those things of the past 10 years, which one is your favorite child?
So I'm really proud of all the stats and all the development and things like that, but for me, I think it's about the people and the relationships. That's what defines what we've done here, and that's what's going to sustain us for another 100 years or so. And so I'm here with two of my Rochester heroes, honestly, think so highly of these two people, and they are the type of people that make Rochester great, as well as all of you. I think of especially the things that Chancellor Carroll's doing at the University of Minnesota, and it's unbelievable, actually. It's not business as usual. It's not, let's make it a little bit better. She's doing what Mayo Clinic does, which is this bold forward. She's changing the way we educate students, and she's delivering results. Did you see the statistic up there? 300% increase in graduating students? Who could aspire to that? That's like an incredible goal. And honestly, I can see why, with her charisma and personality and her staff, that's the magic. It's the people and the relationships.
Yeah, if I could just tag on to that, it really is about the people. And of course, it's a campus community that I have the privilege of representing. It's not me. And it's a research-based model as well. But when I think about the people of Rochester and the accomplishments of the last 10 years, I also go back a little further to the advocates who worked for decades to bring a University of Minnesota campus to the downtown of Rochester. And I live every day grateful for them as well. And I think about all of the people in this room and beyond who have worked over these last 10 years to continue the thriving culture of downtown Rochester. I stand at my window nearly every day and look out with prospective students and their families, and I'm telling them about everything that's happening, the history. There's the plumber, and here's what happened in the tornado, and there's the Gonda and the Hope, and behind there's the proton beam, and the pediatric cancers are being eliminated as we speak. And then now, because of all of these developments, we take the tour and we walk down Discovery Walk, and we read the quotes, and we see the quotes in languages that represent the languages that many of our students speak. And we go to Discovery Square, and I know that if they're admitted and they come, that they will sit in their first year class in Discovery 2, and as they're diligently working on their projects, they can look out the door at their classroom at 2 Discovery Square and see someone from Nucleus going by with a little container with an experimental drug that's been created in that same building and manufactured, and they're on their way to the cancer center at the top of the Gonda, and someone is waiting. Whoa, right?
Yeah.
So in these last 10 years, the continued connection of all that is happening and all of the people who are making it happen is serving well the growth of the University of Minnesota.
And I think one of the neat things and amazing things about DMC and the whole initiative that it's doing is it's taking all of these kind of things that are so powerful in Mayo and the University of Minnesota Rochester and all these things, but also working to fund the rest of the community and the coffee shops, for example, or maybe not the coffee shop itself, but the streets
it's a coffee
and the sidewalks and all that. When we first moved here, we had our technology company was in Honolulu, and we worked out of a coffee shop for a year. So we were at one point we said, we are here so much, we should probably just own a coffee shop. And fast forward a number of years, we moved here, and we decided we wanted to, with some wonderful partners, wanted to take and find a coffee shop. And so we started to look where did we want to start one, and downtown was the place, and that's where we were, and that's where we wanted to take and look at where can people come together in such a wonderful way. You have students and physicians and people, people, the government building, and just every businesses, everybody is there. And so when we started Cafe Steam, that was kind of the goal. But having the people, like we had one of our first employees was Wolf Horseman, who's now our partner, but he took it and grew it into what it is today. Same thing for co-working space. We have Collider, and we had Jamie Sunsbach, who was taking and growing it from its vision. You know, we have it all came together as a vision, and then you need to have people in a community that take it and wake up every morning and are living and bleeding it. And so that's the kind of community Rochester is, that has the people.
So this is a question, and any one of you can jump into this one, but when we've been doing this work, one of the things our consultants said to us, if we hold a mirror back on you as a city, I think every city talks about being unique. And in fact, every city is unique, but they're unique for their own unique reasons. And what they said to us, what is unique about Rochester is the health-centric nature. And we all know that, but then when they started to describe just how disproportionate that is. Number one, like no other city gets to say we have the #1 hospital in the world by definition, because it's here. No other city has, of our size, has 3 million visitors a year. And we do because we have a hospitality environment that knows how to welcome people. Was there anything that you saw in that video that didn't get captured that makes you think about what is the thing that is a thing or more that is unique about Rochester that we ought to be really leaning into and amplifying?
For me, it is connection to purpose. I think all of us across our lifespan are looking for meaning and purpose, and that fuels motivation and all kinds of things. But it is impossible to be in downtown Rochester and not be connected to the purpose of this place. So we go to your coffee shops often, right? Lots of coffee fueling UMR. But it is impossible for any of us, faculty, staff, students, to get a coffee without seeing a patient who visibly is a patient and who is carrying with them hope. And it is impossible to walk through the Skyway without seeing blue tags, right? And to know these are health professionals of all kinds who are scurrying around to their coffee or their next appointment, and they're connected to those patients. The purpose of this place is on display in its very being and in the people who inhabit it. I think of all the kinds of roles, of course the needs of the patient come first, but the science that fuels the cures that give that hope, that are administered by so many professionals, and then the students, of course, who are working their way, striving toward that. So I think the connection to purpose is not difficult. I never wonder, why am I doing this? Do any of you? I know we have great people in our business office, and you'll never see them probably on this stage. And without them, nothing would be happening. And if I ask, Amy, why are you working here? Why do you do this? It's about this place and its purpose. And we're all a part of it. You know that. You give directions in the Skyway, right? We don't know what that person is facing. And so there's a compassion that's part of the collaboration. And I think that it's in there, but I would just add that the purpose fuels us, and it's very visible.
I'm reminded by something Ken Burns said when he was doing the documentary about Mayo Clinic. He said he was interviewing, came across a housekeeper at St. Mary's and said, "What do you do?" And her response is, I'm preventing staph infection.
I remember that. Yeah. Go on. I don't know. I think that's exactly true. The purpose is, I had that same experience when I was in the hospital, to have the person who's cleaning the room taking and feeling like I think purpose drives from every job of every person. And I think that purpose and that hope is what takes and makes Rochester especially unique. I think when you drive into Rochester, before I moved here, your whole body just relaxes a little bit. You're in a place where there's people that will take care of you, that you're accepted. For a small town, I feel like it's unusual to have so many people from, it's such a welcoming town with people from all over the world who are not everybody's from here. You know, a lot of smaller towns have, you know, people grew up and you're either from here or you're not from here, and Rochester really doesn't have that. I think you have kind of the best of all worlds in Rochester. You have a big town feel of things with millions of visitors and all of these things, and at the same time you have a small town where we all get talking about our traffic when we have some construction and a red light, you know.
We're not supposed to talk about traffic tonight.
Sorry, but yes, coming from Honolulu, where you can go 40 minutes to go a quarter mile in traffic jams, it's what you get used to.
So I actually want to use that as a segue, because I think I'm going to ask you guys to help explain these three big concepts that we're talking about: health in the built environment, health excellence as an attractor, and health innovation as an economic engine. And just picking up on what you were saying about traffic, maybe health in the built environment. Who wants to say it in your words, what health in the built environment means?
It's your turn, Clark.
Where's Tom Fisher? He's our he's our design. Is he over there?
Yeah, he's right.
We need Tom. So for me, health in the built environment is really the translation of these ideas into reality. And not just what we do. Buildings, great, but like how we do the buildings and what the buildings are for. It's for the purpose. And we've got such noble purpose that we're driving towards. We've got community spaces that help us be friends. And if you're friends, you get stuff done. We've got scientific buildings where there are discoveries going on. We are in the process of building the most modernistic, digitally powered, technologically enabled facility in the world. And that's going to fuel more innovation and more hope. Patients right over there are going through surgery today, right now. They're going through, somebody's in the proton beam right now. And so those buildings, they're just buildings, but they're purposeful buildings.
Purpose-built. And when somebody was talking about traffic, and we've talked about construction, and we understand that's happening, it is in fact true that the amount of construction Rochester will go through in the next 10 years is what most cities experience in 100 years. Yeah. And the impact that we can have in being intentional around purpose-built, around the infrastructure to support and enable health is something that just can't be done in other communities because it just takes too long. And now we're doing it, much of it, all at one time. And there will be debates and discussion and controversies about how to interpret that. And I say that because we're in the middle of a lot of those conversations, and that's okay. Health innovation as an economic engine.
There's no place like Rochester for the innovation that is coming and that is happening. Out of Mayo Clinic comes a huge amount of innovation, as well as all of the other businesses and support organizations and companies that are coming to support those businesses. And I think one of the things that I find so amazing about this whole place of where we are now in this halfway point between DMC's 20 years and at that such a fortuitous time that Mayo's decided to take and do this once in a 3-generation investment into its buildings, is that to doing it now, right when we still have DMC going full force, is that we can take and do something that really no other place in the entire world can do for Mayo and for all of the community around it, and have the thoughtfulness of doing it with funding. I mean, my goodness, what kind of city gets the kind of, billions of dollars of input that we're going to be getting, that we can do it with purpose instead of just having buildings going up, popping up randomly and without plan. So I think so much of that is building with purpose, and it's building for health.
So health in the built environment. So everybody say that, health in the built environment.
Health in the built
environment.
environment.
There we go, because we're going to leave here remembering these 3 themes, okay? Health in the built environment, health innovation as an economic engine.
Yep, so health innovation as an economic engine.
There you go. Getting good. Health excellence as an attractor.
Absolutely. So 100%.
Well, you'll have a chance. You'll have a chance.
100% of the students who are enrolled at the University of Minnesota here in Rochester have a passion to make a difference in the world through a career in health. 100%. And that passion, in nearly every case, is fueled by an experience of challenge with health in childhood or adolescence, with a family member or with themselves. And they write about it on their application. And the vast majority of those incoming students have one dream, and that is to be a health practitioner at Mayo Clinic. Now, many of them return to their communities eventually after grad school, but nearly all of them have an experience in a research lab or other work-based learning while they are students here, and it's the health excellence that's drawing them. Their passion and commitment is so deep and so strong. They want to be in the place that can raise them up to be just as excellent so they can go out and make a difference in the world. You know that at the University of Minnesota here in Rochester, we study student learning and development and put the results of that research into practice and get really good student outcomes because we do that. One of the studies shows that, mentorships are powerful. We all know that. But that even one conversation with a person who's a few years ahead in the direction that that young person wants to go, even one conversation with someone who is living out that health excellence can change the trajectory of that young person's life. So we like mentor programs that go beyond one conversation, but that's what the research is sharing. And here in Rochester, every student has that opportunity for a multitude of those kinds of conversations as they are 18, 19, and 20, and they're going on to do amazing things as a result. They are becoming the drivers of health excellence.
Great. So health excellence as an attractor.
Health
Yeah,
excellence as an attractor.
You got it. I'm going to put you guys on the spot because I got put on the spot earlier. When will Rochester have a medical museum? And you don't have to answer that precisely, but that conversation comes up often around destination worthy, this venue here. And I didn't acknowledge Gary Newman, who I think is in the audience, the deputy city administrator at the time that Rochester reclaimed ownership of this venue because it's so important to have destination-worthy venues. And just play with me for a second. Okay. This idea of an attractor that is both science-based, purpose-based, and uniquely Rochester.
No.
I won't say when. You're going to say when?
No, I don't know when.
Okay.
I don't know when, but it should be soon. I mean, I think that's a worthy goal, is to take and be focused on having one. And I think it's huge. And you have so many different people that would be benefiting from it, because you have patients that come and have time and they want to go and learn more about all the things that are happening, the science and the health. And I was on the board of the Children's Museum for quite a while, and looking at taking and having an MRI where a child could take and be in an MRI and experience it in a safe kind of environment before taking and going in when they're, or a proton beam experience or something like that. I think a museum and an interactive environment, kind of a hands-on museum would be huge here. So I'm in.
I think that interactive part would be key, and that anything that can help us share the story and power of science and the value of science is worth doing, and doing sooner than later.
Well, and it kind of fits with that student who is in the classroom and is looking at out and seeing a nucleus, for example, or some company that they're seeing the people that are working in industry, because I think it just as much as people can go to work at Mayo, there is a growing this industry of large companies, small companies, startup companies that are really growing in Rochester, and having that experience where the same kind of thing for children and for adults to take and be able to experience and interact, putting it so that you're looking out out a window and you're being able to see all the things that are happening in a museum would be great.
And Dr. Arkley, you can remove your Mayo badge and wear your DMC.
Can I have that green tie? Dynamite. I would say you just don't know what's going to happen and what's going to work. We're in a very creative city with a lot of creative people. And some things you plan. That's pretty much the nature of DMC. Let's be proactive and purposeful in making our town a great town. Some things you can't plan. Lightning bolts hit, and I had a lightning bolt today. I was at the Mayo Clinic Platform strategic retreat today, and one of our researchers is doing, it's Dr. Zadeh from neurosurgery, is doing research that will, I predict, change the entire way the world handles research. The way she's doing it, the pace she's doing it, the breadth that she's doing it at is fundamentally 1,000 times more powerful than what we traditionally do for science. And so those kinds of opportunities, we're looking for that lightning bolt. And I would encourage you all to be looking for lightning bolts and grab them when you see them, bring them in, talk to us. And those lightning bolts might form the next great idea for Rochester, Minnesota, because 160 years ago, somebody had captured a lightning bolt and it resulted in the world's best medical center. So it could happen here. And I feel like our environment is ready for more lightning bolts.
I think we're going to end on a lightning bolt. Yeah. Thank you, the three of you. This has been great. We're going to end that part of the program on a lightning bolt, and we're going to bring up our lightning bolt mayor, Mayor Kim Norden.
I want to thank you all for being part of today's DMC Annual Meeting. It's always energizing to spend time with people from the community with great ideas when we come together, and feeling that collective pride that we share in this place that we're standing in and in this place that we live, Rochester. As I've listened throughout this time together, one thing keeps coming to mind, and a word you've heard, which is momentum. Over a decade ago, I had the honor of helping lead the legislative effort that brought Destination Medical Center initiative to life. Some of the people that helped me do that are in this room today, a couple of our other legislators. Thank you for helping me do that. Back then, we were planting seeds with hope and a bold vision. Today, we're watching those seeds grow into vibrant public spaces and into world-class health innovations, into a city that's evolving right in front of us before our eyes. Not just its buildings and projects, but in how people are choosing to live, to work, and to build their future right here. It's real, it's visible, and it's happening. What makes this uniquely a Rochester story is how it's happening. And we do this work together. Collaboration isn't just a buzzword here. It's how we move forward. Public, private, and community partners showing up, not just at the table, but in the work. It's what started Rochester, and it's what will build our future. We innovate in healthcare, yes, but also in how we care for one another as neighbors. That's the spirit that sets us apart, and the world is noticing. On recent international trips, I've seen firsthand how Rochester's reputation extends, how far it extends. People know Mayo Clinic. They know it's a symbol of excellence, the best healthcare in the world. But more and more, they're starting to understand that excellence doesn't stop at the hospital's walls. It's reflected in the kind of city that we're building around our Mayo Clinic. And more, they're coming to have a look. And they tell us they like what they see. Just this past week and next week, we have visitors from Germany. And in the future, we have visitors from people as far away as Asia, Finland, Norway. People are interested in this community, and they like what they see. Today, we've also talked about how health is more than a tagline. It's a strategy, and one we're proud to lead with. I love ideas that are emerging and how they can help shape Rochester's next chapter. And you're going to hear a little repetition here, but Patrick wouldn't forgive me if I didn't say these. Health in the built environment. Designing places that support wellness, connection, and access for all. Health excellence as an attractor, drawing people, companies, and families who want to be part of a forward-thinking, health-driven community. Health innovation as an economic engine, fueling ideas, businesses, and opportunities that ripple far beyond our borders. These aren't abstract concepts. They're values, and they're visible in what we build, how we work together, and what we choose to prioritize. As your mayor, I'm deeply proud of how far we've come, but even more excited about what's ahead. Many of you have helped shape Rochester's Vision 2050, and you know it's grounded in a simple but powerful belief that this city should work for everyone. That opportunity should be shared. Public spaces should invite belonging, and that innovation and compassion, and they must go hand in hand, not independently. That vision and the DMC vision are deeply connected. Both are about building a future that reflects the heart and the potential of this remarkable community. As we wrap up today's program, let's not wrap up the conversations. Please join everyone here. I'm hoping to say outside. Okay, the rain has stopped. Outside in the Peace Plaza to continue connecting with one another, with our city, and with our DMC teams. And frankly, with the future that we're all creating together. Thank you for showing up today, for being a part of this remarkable community, for believing in Rochester, and for being part of a shared journey. Thank you all, and let's head outside.